I remember when I lost my mind. There was something so pleasant about that place. Even your emotions had an echo, so much space. Ooh. When you're out there without care, yeah, I was out of touch. But it wasn't because I didn't know enough. I just knew too much. Does it make me crazy? Does it make me crazy? Does it make me crazy? Possibly
crazy.
I'd rather be crazy with you by my side.
I am crazy for you, crazy.
Crazy. And is it so crazy if it's the way we love?
I am crazy for you, crazy.
Yeah. Nothing I can think I wanna say what's wrong. Cause inside it's just the two of us alone. How my mind is single things that I must lose. Crazy.
I'm crazy, cold.
Crazy. Are you?
And I hope you're having the time of your life. But think twice. That's my only advice. Ooh. Come on now, who do you think you are? That's just so wrong. You think you're in control? I think you're crazy. I think you're crazy. I think you're crazy. Just like me.
I'm crazy, cold.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome today's host, Ola Ahlvarsson.
Thank you very much. Good morning, and thank you very much to No Legacy. It is an absolute, applause are nice. It is absolutely wonderful to be here with you today for the most ambitious Sime ever. And when we got involved in Sime, I don't know if you know the story, me and Christopher, we were part of the audience when Sime started back in '96. And that's what inspired us to start creating companies in digital. That's what taught us a lot about the things we needed to know. And that was what connected us to the people we wanted to do things with. After the dot-com crash, Sime was shut down, and we were heartbroken. So we called up the old Sime founders, and we said, please, could we restart Sime? Could we buy Sime? Could we do something? And they said, there's no price in the world, because we loved the creation so much, and it wouldn't be the same. Then we got a phone call 2 weeks later, and one of the founders said, listen, we have a price. And we're like, okay, what's the price for Sime? You have to do Sime 2 years, pay for everything, do all the work, and you own nothing. You have nothing. And if we come there 2 times and say, I'm really proud of you, you own it. That's the only price. So we said, great deal, and we did that. And since then, we've been running Sime. And the reason is really that we want to spread knowledge about digital opportunities. Because we think that if we do that, and if we learn a lot, and if we build a lot of good stuff, it is better for us, it's better for society, and it also is something that can be very transformative. And you know, we all had so much hope. If everybody got online, we would be a global village. Everything would be great. Everybody could sell to everybody in the world, learn all the language, have access to all the knowledge. You know, villages would get online and it would be perfect. Internet was good. More technology, better for everyone, right? Then weird things started happening online. Child pornography, fraud. We've heard about these things. Cybersecurity, that was something for the IT department, right? But as of late, now more and more people are questioning, in Silicon Valley, here and elsewhere, do we have to sort of rein in technology? Do we have a responsibility creating these companies? Because what's happening right now is that the web is actually the biggest threat to democracy, in a sense, because of the disinformation that is being spread. Whereas Laurie Siegel, that you'll soon meet, said, as a journalist, you have to defend facts. You have to sort of argue that why shouldn't we use facts instead? Did Russia tamper with the American election? I have no idea. But what if they did? What if hackers are sitting and deciding who becomes presidents? What do we do with that? There are countries attacking other countries all the time. There's wars going on in the cyber world. And these things are absolutely crazy if you start thinking about it. And security goes from being IT to sort of a question about democracy and peace, or what is the moral obligation of building these companies? There was an AI that was trained to be very, very equal. It was gender trained. After 2 weeks of reading newspapers, it was a sexist, right? What happens with that when the artificial intelligence picks up our worst sides and amplifies them? Who can you trust then? Well, if you look at the media, this is a pretty interesting slide, because on the left side you have psycho left publications that are growing really fast, that doesn't care about facts at all. And on the right side you have psycho right, or you have very right. And then you have people that are spending a lot of time on the analysis, and then you have in the middle where we have CNN, that's why we like working them, where opinion is fair, and they try to sort of drive a facts-based journalism. So not even journalism is fact-based. Other risks then, we're starting with risks here today. Will AI steal our jobs? Will your job be taken by a robot? We spoke about that at length last year. 50% of our jobs, you all heard these figures, right? But we had the pleasure of hosting Eric Smith from Google at Epicenter a couple of weeks ago. And he was afraid that we wouldn't create enough jobs, because AI would create a lot more jobs than it takes. The only problem is there would be very, very different jobs. So he said we have to reskill, so that's a buzzword, reskill. And what is that? Reskill is learning what you need to learn so a robot won't take your job. So we got to reskill. And your job is to learn a lot of things here at Sime and come back and reskill your colleagues and get a lot of knowledge and inspiration to try to do things differently. Because probably and most likely, automation will create more jobs for people like us. Have you heard the word FANG? Another buzzword. FANG is Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, and Google. And you can put S as well, then you have Snapchat. These companies are increasingly dominating the digital space and taking over arena after arena. And especially Facebook is also a bearer of a lot of the things that are polarizing. This is an interesting quote. Donald Trump says, "The failing New York Times has become a newspaper of fiction. It's very dishonest." The failing New York Times, right? Everybody knows newspapers are going down the drain, New York Times is failing. But if you just look at the facts behind this, I Google, how bad is it? FANGs, how good has been, investing in these companies as opposed to in an old newspaper? And these are the sort of facts. New York Times has been a better investment the last year than Google, Amazon, or Facebook, right? Newspapers are doing great if they figure it out. Music companies are doing great if they're figuring out. So we're starting to see the digital transformation discussion that we've been driving here for a long time. It's materializing in industries that are completely transformed and making more money than ever because digital becomes the DNA of the company. And we're going to speak a lot about that here. We're also going to speak a lot about the impact of technology in society, because technology is not good or bad. Technology doesn't care if you lose your job or not. It doesn't care about equality. It is not evil, not good. It's what we make of it. And Eric Smith said something else. He said, we're standing at a crossroads where we can create a world that is very, very unfair, and where we can use technology to drive a lot of automation, or we can decide to build a world that has the ethics we as humans need in order to leverage the technology. Well, technology also creates a lot of fun things. I'm going to keep on bashing Trump a little bit. This is an AI robot that tweets and then prints everything that Donald Trump tweets. And then it burns it. So it's the only thing it can do. Well, it can do one more thing. It can retweet it to Trump. And now this is one of the accounts that is growing fastest. And when you hear about all these sort of scary things about technology, I come back to this funny, powerful, anecdotal moments, and I get quite optimistic. So now I'm going to focus on some of the really good stuff that we're going to learn at Sime. We're going to learn about the power of moments. Power of moments, very important for anybody that is a marketeer or that wants to sell something. There's been more and more studies on what creates a moment. For instance, your birthday, it's a powerful moment. Somebody invented birthdays, right? Christmas, great, a moment. And I've recently become friends with Alison Johnson, who was the marketing director for Apple under Jobs. And they had a moment for every customer interaction that they told a story about. So for instance, you've been molding the lawn all summer because you wanted to buy an iPad. You've been working on your summer job, and now you can buy your iPad. What's the moment going to be like when you open the box? And then they timed to 4.2 seconds. It can't be just fast. This is your moment. So they orchestrated the ritual. How difficult it is, and the box opens. So that's an orchestrated moment. And as a marketeer, if you start thinking in moments, you could create moments that are absolutely wonderful. And the ones of you that are lucky enough to come tomorrow to Epicenter, you'll be attacked by different moments. From being allowed to tattoo your own logo to doing all kinds of other crazy stuff. This is one of my favorites. It was a creator of MRI scanners. And for the ones that have tried that, that's very scary. It's very claustrophobic. The sounds are very loud. And when kids do it, they have to give them sedation so that they're like this for 80% of the kids. And many kids get problems because it's dangerous to get sedated. Then they created the magical adventure ride where you can go on a canoe into an MRI scanner. Power of moments. And if you start looking at your product like that, maybe that will trigger completely different user experience than the one you're having right now. We're also going to talk about sales talk as a contrast to driving a question that you really care about. Ben & Jerry, they have between 5 and 10 times return on investment when they drive causes they care about. So if they drive environmental causes, their marketing is 10 times more efficient than if they try to buy clicks or just show ads. Right? What are the questions that your brands care deeply about? And how can you leverage them? And at Sime Social Impact, that starts 12:30 at Hassebacken, we're also going to see how we can work together with the industries, or rather the parties that drive positive change. And we're going to meet a lot of companies that have become successful, not because they sell a product, because they sell a new way of thinking. Something that captivates the customers and make people want to work with them, and that can inspire us all. We call them scale-ups. I don't know if you know the statistics, but a startup, if you look at a startup, only 4% of startups make 5 million crowns in sales after 3 years. Only 4%. Only 0.4% make 100 million crowns after 5 years. So it's easier to become a rap star in Sweden than to create a successful scale-up, right? But we speak about startups all the time, and that's great. Startups are necessary to get scale-ups. But as somebody said, nobody wants to be a startup. It's a phase that you want to get out of so you can become a scale-up. And we're going to look extensively at scale-ups, and we've invited some of the best scale-up experts in the world, and we're also going to look at some of the best companies that we've found. Because if you figure out how to scale, that will impact your business dramatically. And there is a blueprint, there is science behind it. It's not just luck. We're going to look at some buzzwords. Are they buzzwords or the most important things in technology? Blockchain. If I asked you, what is blockchain? Could somebody just raise their hand and explain to everybody what blockchain is? Okay, there's one person there, a very brave person, but not a lot of people do. So, Alexa, what is blockchain?
A blockchain, originally blockchain, is a continuously growing list of records, called blocks, which are linked and secured using cryptography.
So what blockchain is, imagine you can write something in heaven that nobody could erase. So we agree that this coin is worth this much money. It is there for everybody to see. And when everybody agrees to that, you can actually train bitcoins and other things on top of the blockchain. And the people that are advocating blockchain think it can be even more important than the internet. Because with blockchain, why would you need a stock exchange? Why would you need lawyers? Why would you need a bank? Why would you, and so forth. Is it hype or is it super important? Bitcoins, well, value up 700%. So if you would have stayed at home last 2 months and just put money in blockchain, you would have been 4 times as wealthy right now. Okay? If you would buy ICOs, how many people know what an ICO is? Raise a hand. Okay, you're learning things here today. Initial coin offering. So if I say, do you want to buy the Ola coin? It's gonna be great. And you decide that you want to buy that. And then the price goes up as more and more people buy that. Do you follow? So you make up your own currency. Filecoin did 257 million US dollars in people just wanting to buy their coins in no time. And this is happening in more and more. It's very, very volatile. Could you use these coins? Maybe not. 8.8% of all these coins are later used, or these tokens as they're called. But you can be extremely wealthy if you issue an ICO. This is the funniest ICO. This is an ICO, and you see that the logo, it's very little here, but it's a fuck you sign. And it's the world's first 100% honest ICO, because it says, everybody's tired of ICOs. Some guy is gonna take your money and go buy probably electronics with it. It's absolutely worthless, but buy our ICO. And now they're issuing coins and people are buying it. Trump has his own coin as well. 20% goes to his campaigns. I don't know if it's hype or if it's super important, but we invited the person who's probably best in that space, Brock Pierce, for a 45-minute session tomorrow to explain what it's like. We also have a special IoT summit. We're going to look at IoT, because I think IoT has gone from sort of meaningless, oh, a salt dispenser that is connected to the internet, and now you can get exactly as much salt as you want. It's like, you're solving a big problem here. To, you know, driving, never going to be the same again. And the person sitting in this car is sitting there for legal reasons. It has nothing to do with the car at all, right? So, and we're going to have Bodil Eriksson from Volvo Mobility. She's the CEO, and she wants to take Volvo into becoming a lot of different things than it is today. We're going to look at the car industry and IoT. And we're also going to look how we can disrupt the $1.8 billion cocaine market. Which is good. Anybody doing cocaine here? Raise a hand. So I need to connect to my app. I need to put on my laser cocaine. I have to say how much energy I need, maximum. Thank you. Now it starts. And let's see you on the other side. And off we go. There's like 20 cups of coffee, roughly. Starting to feel very good. And these things are actually existing, right? It's not something I'm making up right now. Anybody want to dance? No? And we're going to play around a lot with technology. We have a digital health summit tomorrow. We're going to have a retail summit as well. Because retail is quite interesting, because one way to look at it is that 2007 is when retail started dying big time. In the US, you could see companies like Radio Shack and Toys R Us, and they're just going under. And they could also be an example for other industries that don't evolve. Or don't they? Because if you look at what's happening with Amazon and a lot of other retailers, they're just completely changing the retail experiences.
4 years ago,
And one of
we
the places
started
where
to
there's most innovation and investment right now, it's in
wonder
retail
what shopping
technology.
looked like if you could walk
So
into a
what will be
store,
the new
grab what you
iteration
wanted,
of your
and
retail experience? The e-commerce shops are starting stores, the stores are becoming more and more digital, and data is everywhere. So we're going to look at that. And we're going to play around with artificial intelligence. That's also going from sexy to important. How many of you use Waze? Okay, how many of you know what Waze is? So it's basically an app telling you how to go to wherever you want to go. And it starts like this. You look at it when you're driving home and Waze says, no, don't go that way, and you don't, and you're always wrong. And after a while, you start trusting Waze more than yourself. And this happens with AI. First you think you're smarter, but what recommendation? Then you start trusting it. After a while, it starts planning your trips. And it goes from being your assistant to being your boss. And when that is built out, or as a friend of mine, their AI booked a dinner with the other guy's AI based on what they liked in food, but they were never asked, right? What's going to happen when the AI has become the boss? And AI, it starts with simple things like Alexa. Alexa, tell me a joke.
Why can't you trust our tennis balls RSVP? Because 1 second they're in, the next they're out.
Alexa, what's the meaning of life?
42.
Alexa, why is the meaning of life 42?
Douglas Adams said he just thought 42 will do. There's no deeper reason.
Okay, the amazing things with these guys is that if you teach one of them something, they all learn it, right? So one day my Alexa spoke Spanish, and it couldn't do that the day before. Now all Alexa speak Spanish. And that's the power of automation and robotics. Somebody learns something in the world. Could you imagine a human learns something and you know it too? And that's why it's going to be so fast. This is something that Google also came up with, the earbuds. They can translate.
Hey Isabel, how's it going?
Sound, please.
Hej Isabel.
So we start from the beginning. So they have earplugs, the buds.
Hey Isabel, how's it going?
Hej Isabel, hur är läget?
Helt okej, tack.
Absolutely okay, thank you.
What do you think of these cool new headphones?
Vad tycker du om de här coola nya hörlurarna?
Mitt team designade dem, så jag tycker de är ganska coola.
My team designed them, so I think they're pretty cool.
You get it? What happens in a world where you can speak to everybody and they can speak to you, where you can listen to any TV station? What happens with that? It's super interesting to think about, especially when you're doing this. I'm starting to feel better and better here. And when IoT marries robotics and AI, it becomes super interesting. If you take that back to how can we as leaders try to work with this material, I think we need to have a growth mindset. And I think that we need to connect these technologies to new business models. So these guys are not selling it. They're not selling their laser coke. They're renting it, so you have to pay every month for it. There's no way to buy the equipment. And technology can make you do different business models. And I think that's a very, very interesting field that we'll also dive into more. Last year, we said that 30 years from now, if technology gets twice as smart every year, we'll be 1 billion times smarter in 30 years. So what happens when our telephones are 1 million times smarter, or 10,000 times smarter? But it also creates billions of different views. And what we're seeing increasingly is that you have to be able to embrace complexity in a completely different way than you did before, especially as a leader. And we're seeing that technology is polarizing attitudes much more than it did before. And a lot of people are getting angry. So some people of you here in the room, you are angry. You're angry at immigration. You're angry at tradition is not being respected. You're angry at people not doing what they should do. And you get angry and angry and angry. And you can hang out with angry people all the time. You can read only angry people's posts and write them as well. And you're fucking angry. Right? But then you have the other group. That's enough. Then you have the other group. They don't get angry at all. Because they know that when the other group gets as smart as them, they would think exactly the same thing. They get really offended instead. They get offended that Paolo Roberto made a sexual joke on his Twitter. So Philip and Fredrik goes out and makes a TV program. That's how offended they got. They're offended that there's not vegetarian food on the 10 first things, and then comes the meat. Why is it always like that? They get very, very offended all the time, right? And if you zoom out, you start saying, these are very different views. It feels true for both parties. And if you want to try to navigate the world, it's probably not by polarizing, it's probably by zooming out and trying to take different perspectives. And that's one of the super skills of leaders going forward, especially in complex technology companies, to try to zoom out and take different perspectives. Because when you start life, it's only you. You're super egoistical. And then after a while, you start seeing there are other people out there. And then after a while, you start looking at them as, oh, it's them. I know everything about people that are from that place, or people that are from that ethnic group or religion or whatever. And then after a while, you see there's systems of systems where you start understanding you need to deal with complexity. So you need to be able to think, I don't like Axl Rose philosophy, but I like his music. How do I deal with that? I'm not a Muslim, but I like Muhammad, and I think he should have his own view. And you have these complexities happening inside you at the same time. And when you start embracing that, I think we can get closer to a leadership that goes from sort of being perfect and you know what's right and wrong, to being a jam session where you take different perspectives. And we think this question is so important for leaders. So we created a special summit, Sime Consciousness, that we're going to have here during lunch. Because modern leaders, they need to be able to have chaos outside, but zen inside. So we look at the inner journey to better leadership and a more conscious leadership. We're even championing an app, the Values Match app, where you can matchmake with people that have your same purpose and values as yourself. You have an email, all of you, and you can actually get hooked up with people here that are and think and care about the same deeper values and purpose like yourself. You have the email. And we also see that technology has a fantastic way of changing attitudes and creating transparency. And transparency is very painful for many people, many brands, and many questions. One of the most powerful things that have happened online is the Me Too movement. And we're going to look at it at depth, both from a Silicon Valley perspective, but also with Caroline, who is the front figure and the one that created Me Too Stockholm. And we also love the fact that technology creates so much opportunity, especially for the ones that are entrepreneurial. Look at this guy, he's got everything. I love this photo. And he was asked, and he gives the money to cancer. And he was asked, how do you scale your idea? He said, well, I guess I'll find a bigger road. And it's just wonderful. And we can create anything. And this is my new favorite thing. How many people have a dog here? Okay, would you like to talk to your dog? Raise your hand. Oh, not as many. You're treating your dog badly here. Yeah. So, no more woof. They put a brain scanner on a dog, so it sees what lights up in its brain, and it translates that into speech. Hungry, 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 angry, angry.
So imagine if your dog could tell you what he is thinking. Do you really want to know what he's thinking? Sure you do. Local 15 web content specialist Taryn Reed has more on this new device that claims to translate animal thoughts into human language. Tell us more.
It does sound crazy, right, Kelly? But No More Wolf promises to deliver. So let's see what it's all about. Scandinavian designers NSID, which stands for the Nordic Society for Invention and Discovery, designed what's essentially a headset for your dog. Here's how it works. There are small sensors on the top with EEG recorders. It reads the currents in the dog's brain. Those frequencies are then picked up by a microcomputer inside the headset and translated into words. The developer, Eric Cauldron, says it's actually very simple.
Well, it's really not that complicated as it might seem.
Well, for your dog lovers, you can keep on watching that yourself and you'll see no more woof. But so from the very crazy and funny to a more serious note, we're starting hanging out a lot with Save the Children, Rädda Barnen, and they sent us some statistics the other day that just blew my mind. So I wanted to share it with you. Because I think that it's more and more important that the digital party becomes for everyone, right? If you look at in Sweden today, one of the richest and best nations according to all sort of rankings, 12% of the kids in schools will be outside society because they get criminal, they don't get jobs, they get 12%. will be outside society, right? Which is insane. I thought it might be like 1.2%. It's 12%. And the cost for somebody that lives completely outside society is 15 million crowns per year based on damages done to others, health costs, extra teachers, or whatever it might be that is needed. And if you just aggregate that, you get 210 billion. And another way to look at it, if you would have 5 lost years of students, that would equal our national debt, right? And I think that we as leaders of tech companies, we can invite these kids. We can empower these kids to do more things. And we can do a hell of a lot more to invite more people to the party, both with our products, but also with our companies. So that's something that we're going to talk a lot about here today as well. So finishing off, what's going to happen then today and tomorrow? Well, we're going to have summits today. We're going to have the Digital Marketing Summit. We have 700 marketing directors joining us and agencies. That's during lunch. Feel free to join. It starts at 12:30. We're going to have the Social Impact Summit at Hasselbacken. Anybody that wants to connect with social entrepreneurs and with organizations doing a lot of good and help them, or they can help you to work with causes that really matter. That's Sime Social Impact. We're going to have the Innovation Summit, where we go from all the buzzwords, lean startup, this, and really see how company builders and successful corporate innovators create. We are going to be on main stage here with Sime Consciousness, the inner journey to better leadership. And that takes us to day 2. So day 2 for the ones that are coming to Epicenter. Don't be alone here tomorrow wondering where everybody is. It's at Epicenter, where we're going to look at IoT, that goes from meaningless to game-changing. We're going to look at the future of shopping. We're going to look at digital transformation. It's a leadership summit with top CEOs explaining their aches and pains in transforming digitally. We're going to look at digital health and see if we can be superhuman after all and try a lot of new technologies that will tell things about your health or even upgrade your health. You can go and get a blood test, you can get a scan where they will actually be able to help you upgrade your health. Which is an interesting field we'll speak about here on stage as well. There's even a theory saying that we are not going to be humans anymore, Homo sapien, we're going to be Homo Deus, because we're going to have so many superpowers. If you do contact lenses, why not make them see in the dark? If you do extra arm for somebody who has lost arm, why don't make it super strong? And these Homo Deus will live to 140 or 150 years old. And their main activities will be, how do I get more superpowers? How do I live longer? And then the third, the most important thing, how do I become happy in this crazy world where everything moves this fast? So we're going to speak about Homo Deus. We're also going to look at the city of the future and the real estate of the future at the PropTech Summit. And then we're going to have expert talks with wonderful Alex Sokolov that created Toy Stories and Garfield and others. And Brock Pierce, who's like the overlord of Bitcoin and blockchain. And many, many others, where you sit down for an hour and just hang out with whichever speaker you want to learn more from. You can also tattoo your logo. Feel free to do so. If anybody wants to tattoo Sime's logo, I'll happily chip in for that. And of course, the party, where we're going to have my favorite DJ coming in from LA, so we're going to dance the night away. Oh no, I don't have any tickets. Don't shoot yourself if you don't have tickets for tomorrow. You can still go here and you can still ask the people up in the registry. There are tickets left for some of the summits, but all of the summits can be seen on live cameras and other things at Epicenter, where a lot of things will happen. So today, we're going to talk to some of the most prolific startup founders and scale-up founders. Nirav Tulia from Nextdoor, they are becoming the Facebook for neighbors in the US, growing faster than almost any other company. We have Peter Westerbacka, the mighty eagle from Angry Birds, coming back with a new game, with a mission. We have Isabella Löwengrip building an empire of products and media, going from Swedish to Arabic to German, and sharing how she scales. We're going to have Chris Dancy, the world's most connected man. We're going to have Victoria Hedenmark, who's my present favorite entrepreneur in the world. She's created 7 companies, employs 1,000 people. You probably haven't heard of her, but when you see her, you understand why they're all successful. And Georgi Ganev, who was is the CEO of Dustin, that just made remarkable success and is now taking the reins of Kinnevik AB as the new CEO. And we're going to have Ivan Risilico, and Ivan is an interesting character. He's a 2-time Mr. America that is a doctor that works with rejuvenation and actually upgrading people's health. So not for people that are sick, not so that you don't become sick, but rather how can you reach beyond your full potential, and how can you use medical technology in doing that? And we're going to have Alec telling us how we tell a wonderful story and how he got Oscar nominated for doing very, very wonderful movies, some of them that we've all seen. And we're going to have Caroline that championed the Me Too movement, got thousands of people to engage on the squares of Stockholm and other cities, and how she's going to take that cause forward. We're also going to look at entrepreneurs that are doing the seemingly impossible, which is the largest market, China. I haven't been there, but let's go there and build a company. And now this is the fastest growing company in her field in China. So Bonnie Ruppe is going to come here and share that story. And also, as I mentioned before, Bodil Eriksson that takes the reign of, as the CEO of Volvo Cars Mobility and try to transform the car industry forever. So lots of more speakers, 114 in total, many more things going on at the same time and in different places. So try to keep yourself in the right place where you want to go. And we'll also have you. In total, there's going to be 3,000 people running through all the different summits and things going on. So use the map to connect with the ones that you want to hang out with. Just finishing up the last minute on the why. Why did we start Sime? Why do we think this is so important? Well, we believe that if we can be a company that's successful market and sell innovation, we can hopefully, just a little bit, or a lot even better, shape not only how you think about us or your own product, but how you think about yourself, the market, and the world. So that's our humble ambition for today.